Alright, what's up guys? NDN here. Alright, now, I finally got around to doing my enhanced guide. I will be doing this live on my live stream, so this is going to be all in one take. So hopefully I don't derp on stuff and forget something and all that crap. But, here I go. And this, okay, I also have to mention this will be a long video, so I will leave link in the descriptions below about to skip to the certain parts that you want to watch. I'm trying to add a couple more things in my usual guide here. I'm not going to be adding everything because I'll make it way too long, because I might be doing a later guide about a little bit more advanced, enhanced, and elemental stuff. I'll just both together combined. But I'll be adding a little bit more stuff than my usual guide. So here it goes. Hope it helps. Alright, now let's get to the talents right here. Now, for the level 15 talent as enhancement, Nature's Guardian, best way to go. I personally like this for 3s, 5s, and 2s. I'm not a big fan of 2s, obviously, but in 2s, you can go with Stone Bulwark Totem if you don't have a healer. It actually turns out to be more healing, absorbs, blah blah, in overall than Nature's Guardian. But I still prefer the usage of Nature's Guardian because it's a 30-second cooldown. It's basically a passive ability, and so for level 15 talent, I definitely go with Nature's Guardian. For 3s, definitely Nature's Guardian all the way. 5.4, we might discuss Astral Shift all over again if they're redoing it. But for now, Nature's Guardian for level 15 talent. Now, for the level 30 talent, every shaman and their dad gets on me by using Earth Grab Totem. Because the most popular thing to use as an enhanced shaman, obviously, is Frozen Power and Windwalk Totem. Now, Frozen Power obviously frost shocks or roots your opponent for 5 seconds, and then the Windwalk Totem obviously is a freedom. So if you're facing like a hunter team or where they have to disengage a root, or like a Shadow Priest team, you're gonna have trouble with the roots. Basically, if you don't have a paladin or a hunter on your team, then definitely Windwalk Totem is the way to go. But now, over Frozen Power, the only time I get Frozen Power is like if I know there's a mage on the other team, and like that's the only, like, probably mage is the only time I'll get Frozen Power over Earth Grab. But even then, if there's a rogue on their team, Earth Grab will come over that. Now, we don't get Earth Grab for most teams. This is a 5-second root on AoE, and it's a 30-second cooldown. What's amazing about this is, let me just give you one example, which I'll get into this more in later videos and stuff like that. But one example of this is, let's say you have a rogue opening up on you. Most rogues are going to open up on you with Garrote and then instant cheap shot or kidney. Or sometimes they just open up with Garrote and do damage and then go into the kidney cheap shot. Now with this, let's say you have Earth Grab down. First of all, Earth Grab and Magma Totem, you have 2 ways of breaking someone out of root. Earth Grab will always get them out of root as soon as they go near it, and most people don't expect that. And then on top of that, now the biggest thing, let's say you're standing with Earth Grab, the rogue opens up and instantly, as soon as it garrotes you, as soon as I see that garrote debuff on me, I instantly use my sprint, which means, because you can use your speed boost while you're in silence. So as soon as I do that, and since he garroted me, he's really close to me, he's gonna get rooted. So even if I get cheap shotted after I use my speed boost, it's fine because he's out of melee range now, and there goes his opener. So it's just minor stuff like that, which I love Earth Grab for. And also with Earth Grab, I feel it's a lot easier to actually get my stuns off. So for level 30 talents, definitely go with Earth Grab right here. Now well, you don't have to, actually all 3 are viable depending on where you go, the way the comp you face and stuff like that, and the comp you're playing. Sorry about that, man. Sorry about that. Just a friend made a new DK. Alright, so yeah, Frozen Power, Windwalk Totem, Earth Grab are all viable talents. Windwalk Totem for obviously teams where you're gonna have problems with roots and stuff. Frozen Power, I only use this against mage teams just because Earth Grab feels like it doesn't, like, I love to actually catch up to a mage with Frozen Power and Unleash Elements. And then, but Earth Grab I use for everything else, as much as other shamans might not like it. For level 45 talents, now there's 2 ways you can go here. One's Totemic Restoration, which basically you summon a Tremor Totem and then you take it away. You'll have the duration of that Tremor Totem will get reduced down to 35 seconds, and same thing for Groudning Totem. It's a 25-second cooldown, it turns out to be like, after you actually put the Groudning totem on, you ground something instantly, it'll turn into like a 10 to 12 second cooldown, or so it feels that way. So it's actually really nice, but depending on comp bases, I personally prefer to attack projection like almost always. Now, as you know, this allows you to transfer your totems. So one thing, amazing usage of cap totem to actually get stuns off, which is sometimes very important right now, because there's the only two CCs you have are cap totem and hex. And then I also play with druids every now and then, so putting down a root totem and then solar beaming someone, or like throwing a root at the healer and then solar beaming them, is also really another fun way. Obviously you can do that with frozen power too, but the most important usage of titanic projection that I always have is that I usually have to transfer my tremor totem to my healers, because as an enhanced shaman, I'm a melee. My healer is not always going to be on top of me. He's going to be trying to LOSing pillars and stuff like that, maybe. And now, every now and then, fears are terrible. They can put you in the most awkward positions in the world. And this way, I can send my tremor totem. So I just put my tremor totem down, and then send it as far away as I can. Sorry, there you go. And then my healer gets out of fear way over there. So that's pretty much it. This is why I love totemic projections. So for level 45 talents, go with totemic restoration or projections. But I mainly like projections. Now for level 60 talent, I used to love elemental mastery. Like, that was my favorite thing as enhanced. Like, but sadly, like, NS isn't bad and stuff. You get the instant hex and stuff, but I never really had problems with getting hexes off because of the 5 maelstroms. But this is nice. You can instantly go in and get pressure out. But now there's the passive melee haste increased by 10%. This is so huge for damage increase. So if your match is going to actually last longer than, well, let's say the duration of when you pop your burst, NS is going to be better overall. Otherwise, elemental mastery is still really good for if you're just going for that one straight up global on your ascendants. If that's the only thing you rely on in your comp, what sadly a lot of enhanced comps right now do, which I hate playing that way, but sometimes the game goes that way. But either way, both these talents are workable. This is going to be more overall damage. NS is obviously going to be more overall damage, but LE mastery is definitely still good. Now, Echo the Elements, this talent is only good for one thing. No, it's not healing. That when you heal with it, it's terrible. But it's good with Elemental Blast. Now, I'll talk about more Elemental Blast when we get there. But my main choice is going to be Ancestral Swiftness almost always, and then sometimes I'll go with Elemental Mastery if I know I'm getting a hex off is never going to be an issue, and I'm just going for that big one shot. I just know I'm going to have to get that off. Then I go with Elemental Mastery, but otherwise I'm always going with Ancestral Swiftness as enhanced. For level 75 talent, Healing Tide Totem. That's for me. About 80% of the matches I always get Healing Tide Totem. There are the occasional matches where living becomes a really big issue, and that's when I go with Ancestral Guidance, where I have to I use Ancestral Guidance with my Ascendants, so put out counter pressure plus off heals on my burst, off heals on myself. But that's the only so it's just, let's say I'm having a hard time with facing like a KFC or Jungle Cleave or Ret Hunter Disc or all these new just pure run in, pop everything, win comps. Also, I guess another Beast Cleave, opposing Beast Cleave, because they can also do that. So, but those are the only times I use Ancestral Guidance, and and the only time you're going to benefit from it is if you're using it during Ascendance, and also your Fire Elemental, if you're using Primal Ellie or something, it also helps you out with that. But otherwise, I normally get Healing Tide, because you're just healing your whole team without putting out any effort at all, so it's nice. Conductivity, this is obviously, apparently from what I hear, really OP talent in PvE right now, where enhanced shamans are healing dungeons by themselves, queuing up as healers and then staying enhanced and stuff and it actually is really amazing. I've tested it out myself. But in PvE terms or PvP terms, in arenas, it's really situational based, and the way the arenas are right now, where it's so much explosive damage going all around, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you're let's say you're doing RBGs or something, then definitely you can try out Conductivity, and it will actually be really nice healing overall. And then for level 90 talents, now all three of these are viable talents now. Unleash Fury, obviously you're going to be more often than not running Wind Fury on main hand, Flame Tongue on offhand. I'm sorry, Wind Fury on main hand, Frost Brand on offhand, because your Frost Brand with PvP 4 set increases your damage on Lava Lash by 40%. So you're gonna have the 8 seconds of melee auto attacks that can trigger Static Shock, and you're also gonna get that 50% increased speed movement. So Unleashed Fury is definitely the way to go if you're looking for overall damage, mobility. This is gonna be more damage overall and for mobility. Now, Primal Elementalist. This is something that I just, since the last PTR video, I've been in love with this. I never used to go with Primal Ellie, but now I think half my matches I've been using Primal Ellie, and just the fact that like every time I face any kind of cleave team, I know the match isn't gonna last longer than 2-3 minutes at max. So Primal Elementalist is amazing damage. This is the most damage when it's out, and it's out for 1 minute. So when this is out, this is gonna be the most damage in the world. So Primal Elementalist is definitely for short matches. And also you can use the special abilities to do more damage yourself and healing on yourself, and then you can also summon the Earth Ellie, which actually has a really nice 4-second stun, and obviously you take less damage if you activate its ability, and you take more healing during it, so it's a nice way to live through some burst afterwards too. But short matches and cleaves and stuff like that, Primal Elementalist is definitely the way to go. Longer matches and stuff, Unleashed Fury. Now there are a lot of shamans that are going to use Elemental Blast out there, and these are the shamans that rely completely on one-shotting someone. Now, as I said before, Echo the Elements, the only time this talent is good is if you're going for that complete YOLO RNG one-shot with Elemental Blast. Now, in 5.4, they're doing it so the Storm Strike increases the critical strike chance of Elemental Blast also. That'll be a whole new deal, we'll talk about it later, but now, for now, I still don't like Elemental Blast as much as I like the other two, but that's saying that when Elemental Blast crits, this does retarded damage. Like, it's amazing. So, and on top of that, if you get RNG crit with Echo the Elements on top of that, this is going to do some, it's going to be your one shot. You're going to get that one shot off. But, obviously it requires a lot of RNG on top of that. And you don't have to get Echo the Elements when you get Elemental Blast. I still would recommend NS or Elemental Mastery, but this is just if you just want to YOLO something with like full RNG bursts. I'm just giving you an option right here. But my two talents that I always go with are Unleashed Fury and Primal Ellie. Now for the glyphs. This is a must-have glyph right here, Lightning Shield. When Lightning Shield is triggered, you take 10% less damage for 6 seconds. That means it's basically always up after you take that first hit. So that first hit hurts a little bit more, but after that, you always have this up for the entire time. This is a must-have glyph at all costs. And then Healing Storm, which is the second must-have glyph for me. It basically, each application of your Maelstrom weapon also increases your healing done by 20%. So at 5 Maelstroms, when I put down a heal, it's 100% stronger. Now, this is another reason why I said Echo the Elements isn't good with healing, because it doesn't proc the Healing Storm heal. Otherwise, this would be OP because I could get 200k heals back to back and just top myself off. But it only works with, it doesn't work with Echo the Elements, it just works by itself, but it's still amazing. So, let's say right now, I'm going to heal myself for 40k, 40.5k, that would have turned into a 81k heal. And that's really amazing. So, Healing Storm and Lightning Shield are must-have glyphs at all times, no matter what. And then now the interchangeable glyphs are going to be Shamanistic Rage. Obviously, it removes all magical effects. This is an amazing talent. So if you're not facing a team that has magical effects or something, or I like to go with Hex, which reduces the cooldown of my Hex duration, which as an Enhanced Shaman, your Hex can be really important. So I interchanged between Hex and Shamanistic Rage a lot. This is my new Shaman. I still haven't bought the Cap Totem glyph, basically because I don't know why, but people were selling this in the auction house for like 600 gold, and I don't have the money right now because it's my brand new account. But I definitely, if you don't need either one of those, I go with Cap Totem glyph. I don't usually use any other glyph. I don't think there's a need to, because these two take up both your slots. And then Shamanistic Rage, Hex, and Cap Totem are interchangeable depending on your comp bases. So those are the major glyphs. Now the minor glyphs. Totemic Encirclement, I've mentioned this before. This glyph, I love this glyph because let's say I put down my healing tide totem. Now I have 4 totems, and then the other team actually has to target this one, and now there's 4 totems I have to choose from to target. Like, obviously it's not like impossible or something, it just makes their life a little bit harder. Normally there would only be 1 totem and they can literally tap target and just kill it, but now they actually have to target it specifically, and that makes life harder. So anything I summon 4 totems at once, and I love that. So Totem Encirclement is definitely a talent that I like. And then now, Glyph of Lava Lash. This is a really good talent. Like, your Lava Lash ability no longer spreads Flame Shock to nearby targets. Let's say you're playing with comps like you're playing Turbo Cleave, or you're playing with a Hunter and stuff like that. You don't want to be spreading your Flame Shocks to the healer and stuff, or someone your warrior is going to fear. Because, I mean, a warrior fear is going to break instantly on like 1 Flame Shock tick. And then also the traps are going to break if your hunter's not using Glyph of Solace or something. So why even force him to like waste a Glyph slot on that? So Glyph of Lava Lash is really good, depending on the comp you play. Like, you're playing with a Warlock or something, don't use this Glyph. Obviously you want to spread the Flame Shock. And then also the third Glyph is a Glyph of Lake Strider. Basically when you Ghost Wolf, you also get the Water Walking buff. I like this because this makes it harder for your opponents to actually dispel Water Walking, and that's the main reason I like it for. And obviously, like, it's nice to have Water Walking when you Ghost Wolf, so it's just a less waste of time when you're crossing small waters for some reason. But that's pretty much it for talents and glyphs, guys. Alright, so now for macros. For enhanced specific macros. Now, obviously there's my one-shot macro, which is /cast Ascendance, my on-use Trinket, cast Stormlash Totem, cast Elemental Mastery, and my Blood Fury ratio. Now, one thing I forgot to add over here is going to be /cast Ancestral Guidance. Sorry, I'm like super slow right now. Alright. The reason I added Ancestral Guidance to that is you're not obviously going to use Ancestral Guidance all the time, but if you looked at my talents portion, you're going to know why I added this part into it if you ever need to use it. So, but I also have Elemental Mastery in here. Now, these two things, like, if you're not using them, it's not going to activate them, but it doesn't hurt to have them in there. These are all off of GCD. So when you use them, all of these could be used at the exact same time, which is really nice. So this is good to have as your little one-shot super save macro. It's going to top you off and like just mess up other person on the other team. Now, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time talking right now. Alright, now, the cleanse macros for my healer and my partner. It's basically a /cast at whatever my healer is, and then cleanse spirit. And same thing for my partner, /cast at whoever your partner is, cleanse spirit. Now and then I use my focus purge macro. Now this is a really nice macro because a lot of times, like as I mentioned earlier, you're gonna be playing with teams that or you're gonna be playing with people that have fears on your team. Because I don't know, Enhanced Shaman just work that way for some reason. You're gonna play with a Disc Priest or like a warrior or something like that, and it's gonna happen where you're gonna have to like focus purge fear words off or stuff like that. And this is really nice because, see, as an elemental, if you notice, I did not have this focus purge macro, and the reason for that is when I'm purging as elemental, I'm not doing any damage. But when I'm purging as enhanced, if I don't have my current target, I'm losing the auto attacks and the Maelstrom procs. So I want to have the target I'm attacking targeted and focus purging the fear word off that way. So I'm doing more damage, and that's why focus is so important. Alright, sorry, I got RL aggro. Alright, now, so focus purge is a really good add-on right here. Now I have /cast add focus solar beam. This is good for when you have a Druid on your team. Your solar beam is going to be, or symbiosis is going to give you solar beam. So this is really nice. I also have a regular symbiosis right here. So you want to have that symbiosis and focus symbiosis. It's going to help you out a lot actually. And then I have for my grounding totem macro, it's /stop cast grounding totem. This is mainly obviously an elemental thing with the stop casting, but I mean, I don't want to make macros over and over. I keep the same macros for both of them. So I mean, put it in there regardless, because you might be casting a healing surge for some reason that you want to put down a grounding totem. And then you have I have my healing surge macros for both my partners and my healers. So with just slash cast, add the player healing surge for both of them. And then I have my focus hex, which is slash cast, add focus hex, and these are brackets, by the way. And then I also have this mini burst macro, which most players don't use this. I just keep this just because it has, basically what it does is it uses my on-use trinket, it uses my Stormlash totem, my elemental mastery, and my blood fury. This is basically all my burst capabilities except for my ascendance. Because sometimes like I'm not gonna need ascendance to let's say I'm going on a mage, right? I know I'm not gonna need ascendance to force that ice block, because if I use ascendance, it's gonna be wasted anyway. So I kind of just pop my mini burst and force everything out of them, and then as soon as they're out of the ice block or something, go put them into another CC and then pop my ascendance and stuff like that. So I like the usage of actually having a smaller portion burst. Now also, some people are asking me, why do I not use Ghost Wolves in this burst macro? There's two reasons. First of all, Ghost Wolf is on a GCD, so you can't actually macro it in with your, it's going to conflict with Stormlash totem. Secondly, Ghost Wolves don't do squat for damage. Like they absolutely do nothing. It's terrible. I mean, I don't know, they need to work on that or something, but Ghost Wolves don't do any damage right now. They do, I mean, it'll be a nice heal. It'll be like one healing surge, basically, throughout the whole duration that they're out. So, I guess it's just annoying for people to have Ghost Wolves on them, but they don't really do much damage. And then I have my Tremor Totem macro, which is slash stop casting, slash click, totem frame, totem 1, or space 1, space right button. Now what this does is, let's say I have a Fire Ellie totem out and I'm using Totemic Restoration. I put my Tremor totem out, right? Now I want to take this away, but I didn't take my Fire Ellie away. That's the purpose of that macro right there. Because normally if I was to use Totemic Recall, all my totems would go away at the same time. And I don't want that, because if I have Healing Tide out, if I have Fire Ellie out, I don't want to take those away. If I have Stormlash out, so basically that macro, what it does is that it only takes away Tremor Totem. So you press it once, you put out Tremor Totem. You press it again, it takes away Tremor Totem. So that's amazing. And that's mainly used for Totemic Restoration ability. And if you don't have it, it's going to work as if you don't have it. So it doesn't matter. And then obviously I have my slash cast Wind Shear macros and my focus Wind Shear macros. Now as enhanced, you don't need this macro obviously, because you don't really need stop casting, but I would still recommend having it in there just in case for some reason you're run while casting and then a random mage blinks to you and starts casting a frost bomb or something on you. It might save your life if you don't use stop casting macros or keybinds. So those are my macros. And then here are my general macros, which I recommend everyone to use. This has helped me out so much. I actually didn't used to use this back in season 11 when I got 2400. I actually did not use these macros, but ever since MoP started, I started using this, and this, I mean, it's just completely changed the way I play. I react so much faster and everything like that. So, and basically it's going to be slash target arena 1, slash target arena 2, slash target arena 3. This basically, I mean, so that way you don't have to click on your frames, you don't have to tap target and all that, and so this is just amazing. I recommend everyone trying out this. It might feel a little weird if you don't use this, but trust me, in the long run, this will be amazing for you. And now, I also use slash focus arena 1, 2, and 3 because I'm changing around focus targets constantly. And now, but most people, what they do is they just have a slash focus, so they'll either target arena 1, 2, 3 and just use slash focus on them. I prefer to actually have each of these bound, but that's just me. You don't have to have these. You can either use this or you can use the other three right here. I just for some reason like to have as many keybinds as I can to make my life harder. But that's me. And then I have my slash use healthstone. I keep it bounded because half the times I'll forget if I don't. And then that's just to mark people. So I guess if you guys want this whatever, this is basically you slash cast with any ability you want, and then it'll have, you can run the script with slash script space set rate target, and then little star thing, and then name of the player, star again, and then dot whatever number. Each number is a different mark for like square or triangle and stuff like that, so you can play around with this and however you want to do it. I don't have it set up on my shaman, but it's something nice, especially for if you're playing with the night elf, because shadow mode takes away the marks, and that's so annoying because the more often than not the night elf druid that you're playing with is going to take away the marks and you have no idea where they are. So that's really nice. And then I have my slash pet attack and pet follow. This was back when you could actually control your ghost wolves, but you don't need that anymore. I just use this for my hunter and my warlock. So those are my macros. For my add-ons, I always get this a lot, so I wanted to make an add-ons part in here too. Now the reason how I got to add-ons inside the game is using add-on control panel. You can use to turn off add-ons, real UI, turn off, turn on, blah blah blah. And so add-on control panel is obviously the first add-on I like to get. And now the second add-on is going to be Arena Spy. I mean, I have this. There's no really point to it. It's just basically instead of actually looking into your friends list and seeing who you're queuing into stuff, you can actually just like your Arena Spy, if you have them on your friends list and they're on your server, they'll tell you who you're facing, basically the actual players. This was really useful back before MoP when they didn't tell you like what comp you were facing and stuff like that. But now, and then Auctionator, it's not important. Auto Flood, nope. Alright, now Bartender. This is what I use for my Keybindings, and that's why sometimes you guys are always wondering, it's like, oh, you don't even have your Purge bounded or something, or you don't have your Ghost Whip bounded or your Healing Tide. It's like, you click those spells, it's like, no, is this my Bartender? It's bugging out, it's not showing it. It's like, I just use Bartender for everything, especially because I have extra bars and stuff like that, and it's just easier to actually like bind them because all I have to do is click on them and then just click on the bind that I want to bind instead of having to find them all in the Blizzard UI. So this for me, Bartender is just a lot easier for me. And then crap away just throws away all the crap when you go to the little store place thingy. I have no idea what Curse Profiler does. I just have it. Deadly Boss Mods, I use this for when I go into BGs to tell, like, let's say you're in Alter or Rati Basin. When you get a flag node, it tells you how long it actually has until the flag's going to be yours, or the node's going to be yours, and then if you're going to win with 3 or if you're going to win with 4 and all that stuff. So that's the reason I use DBM. And then Gladiolosa, I honestly can't even hear this because I keep my game sound on so low. But I mean, I have it for every now and then. Like, this is just basically, this is the lady that calls out like cooldowns. If you guys probably can hear it in the background every time I'm playing, just because my game sound actually for some reason is enhanced in the videos and stuff like that. So this is the lady that's calling out all the cooldowns that the other team's using. So this is a nice add-on for someone who's just starting out, or so, even if like for the advanced players, it just gives you that extra awareness out of nowhere. And then Gladius, this is an amazing add-on for me, not only because it shows you the trinkets of other team members, but now it actually shows you when they're using some offensive cooldowns, like when rogues pop Shadow Blades or Kitty's Berserking or something like that. They didn't used to do this before, but I think I'm randomly seeing that it actually does this in the newer versions, which is nice. But the most important part is I can make Gladius big on my screen. Because the default UI frame or arena frames, I actually like them better because I can see a lot, like it's a lot more clear. But I just like Gladius because it's actually big and my screen is really big. So that's the reason I like Gladius. And then I use Grid for when I'm in like RBGs and stuff like that. And so it just brings up a little raid frames over here instead of the default UI frames, which I just like them better. And then I have GTFO, which this is a PvE add-on. I don't even know why I have it on. It just tells you to actually GTF a lot of stuff you're standing on. and then I have Healbot. Now a lot of people have been bashing on me for actually having Healbot turned on, and yeah, I don't care. I use this specifically for one thing and one thing only, is to dispel Hex, and I don't click on it. I literally just look at it to see who's actually Hexed. I don't know why, but my eyes just focus on it a lot better than looking at the actual default frames that the UI has for Blizzard. So if you have actually noticed, I dispel Hex extremely fast. And that's the reason why. I just noticed it extremely fast because of Healbot. That's the only reason I have it for. And obviously if I'm in RBGs or something, all I have to do is right click and it'll dispel it, or I can left click and it'll start healing surge on that person. So I'm not going to make macros for everyone. So it's the same thing as clicking on them and then using the spell. Might as well just click on their names and actually use the spell. So it's just something nice for me that I personally prefer. And don't worry, it won't make you new if you use it. It's literally, there's nothing like, people aren't going to bash on you if you use it. If they do, I mean, oh well, you're going to play better than them anyways. And then this add-on, this is my brand new Shaman, so I haven't have anything set up and stuff like that. But as it tells you when there's a healer on the other team, I don't like to use this because it basically makes like red pallies and boomkins and stuff, like it says healers on them too if you don't set it up, because they do so much healing. And then I use juked instead of interrupt bar. This is when everyone asks me like, I see cooldowns that your other enemy team's using, like how do you see these? And that's from juked. So, and also it tells you like when someone has their kick up and stuff like that. So juked is really nice for that. And then lose control. This is a thing that, this is one of my favorite add-ons. This is basically like anytime your opponent CC'd or something, it'll come up with this big little block telling me the exact seconds on the CC and what CC they're in. Or if I'm in a CC, it'll come up over here. If my focus target's in a CC, it'll come over here in a big block, and that's lose control. So this is an amazing add-on. I love this because I hate the Blizzard UI, or with the current the way they display it. It's a little bit better now, but still I'm used to lose control and I love it. And then move anything MoP. This just lets me move basically whatever I want. So just all like any default frames and stuff like that. So this is really nice. And then NCA team rating. This is actually a really cool add-on. Basically every time I get out of an arena, it'll tell me my MMR, my team's rating, my previous rating, and my opponent's team's ratings and MMRs and their team names and all that stuff. So NCA team rating, pretty cool add-on. And then Omni CC. I love this add-on because like let's say I use Cap Totem. See how it actually has the exact seconds on it plus the little circle thing? The normal Blizzard UI only has a circle thing, and I hate that so much because I don't know exactly when I'll have something up again. If I have Sham Rage, I can let my healer know I have it up in exactly 55 seconds now and stuff like that. So is this something really nice for me to actually have that ability on there? And it's like if it's minutes, it's 3 minutes, and over here it's 5 minutes and stuff like that. So it's just really nice. And then I have Outfitter, which there's no point in Outfitter anymore because Blizzard has their own Outfitter, which is, it's basically Equipment Manager. So but I think Equipment Manager is actually better now, so don't have to worry about Outfitter anymore. And then Postal is just for mailing, just to mail stuff and all that stuff. Power Auras, for me this add-on doesn't work. I see other people using this add-on so much, and it's like basically on top of their bars and stuff they get like all these cool stuffs, and I don't know. But for me it hasn't been working, so I can't recommend it to you guys. I have it on, but it never works for me. So, and then Prat. This is basically, I use this so, let's say someone typed a live stream or something that I want to watch. I can go there, or someone's name or something. I can just go on their name. I can Control C, and then now I can just Control and paste that. So it's just really nice to have the ability to copy and paste. That's the main reason I use Prat for. And then I have Recount on, obviously. Like, I just love to see like all the little details on damage done and stuff like that. So, and all the damage taken, healing done, all that stuff. So Recounts is nice for that. I'm pretty sure most of you already know what Recount is. And then I have Save Queue, which basically takes it with the Leave Arena option from when you're entering arenas. So it's kind of basic. And then Sexy Map is this map right here. This basically kind of enhances the stuff I want to see. And it looks a little bit cooler. So that's Sexy Map for you. And then this is another one of my favorite add-ons, is Shaman Friend. I see. I think a lot of you also ask, like, sometimes I see like how much damage your Wind Fury is doing, if your main hand's doing it, if your offhand's doing it, if it's a double Wind Fury crit, and whatever you're purging, whatever you're grounding, it's all that stuff is showing up. And what is that add-on? That's Shaman Friend. You can edit it to show it for anything. And so this is an amazing add-on. I recommend it to all shamans. Spell Editor, I don't know what it does. I think I have it, but it does absolutely nothing, so I can't recommend that. And then SGI, I just got it because my friend told me to, because we made a new guild. It just basically helps you invite people to the guild. And then Tell Me When, this is also another really good add-on. I don't use it for my shaman, but it basically, you can use it to see when your trinket procs, when you have cooldowns up, or when you have any kind of proc or something like that, which is not usually visible. This is just a really nice add-on to show like procs or cooldowns with extra stuff. It like makes a little extra bar for it. And then I use Instant Messenger. I think a lot of times people have asked me, it's like, oh, like let's say I whisper someone, it makes a special box for them, and it's like, that's so cool. And it's like, yeah, and this is basically how I do it, is Instant Messenger. So I love that, so because like the thing is, I'll be getting a lot of whispers like all the time, and so this way I can just kind of like sort them all out and just kind of keep them all there so I can look at them later, instead of having to go back into my regular chat and scrolling up. And then Xpearl, this is my favorite UI, obviously. This is Xpearl right here. I don't use the party Xpearl frames, I use the regular default raid UIs, which I like a lot better, but for my party, or I mean for myself, my target, and my focus, I use Xpearl. I love that it shows percentages and the health bars and their name colors, and the most important thing is that it's actually a lot bigger than the default UI, which again is a big concern for me because I don't know how to make the regular Blizz UI bigger, so I just use Xpearl. And also I love the way it shows debuffs and all that stuff, and like if I have a purgeable like debuff on them or buff on them, it'll be bigger than normal and it'll be shining around. So Xpearl is just amazing for me all around as a UI. So, and that's it for my add-ons. Probably the most important part, or what most of you actually want to see, is the rotation. Now obviously enhanced rotation isn't based on, it's actually not a rotation, it's a priority based thing, but I'll just say rotation to make life easier. And yes, you did see me clicking Wind Fury and Frostband weapon. Now the reason is I do not bind Rockbiter weapon. I don't use it ever because it's basically on one person, and the time that it takes me to switch to globals and actually activate it, I think it's just a waste. I don't switch to Rockbiter as much as people might get on me about that. So I just have Wind Fury and Frostband just out there. So that's like the two things that I don't ever bind. Oh, and Heroism. But now for rotation, just regular rotation. Now obviously you're gonna have your Searing Totem out first because that's amazing. And you're gonna Storm Strike, and you have out of that Unleash Elements into Flame Shock into Lava Lash, and then you have Storm Strike back. I have Lightning Bolt, and I have my Earth Shock back, and you just go along with the procs after that. Now after the Storm Strike, I use Earth Shock, and then I use Unleash Elements, and then I use Storm Strike again, Shock, Unleash Elements. Now there aren't many spells, but now the thing about Enhance is that you see how I use Lava Lash first and then I use Storm Strike? That's actually really bad. Now the reason why this is not the right rotation I'm doing right now, I just wanted to point out something. As an Enhance, your priority should be this. Now this is something that most Enhanced Shamans probably don't know, or some Enhanced Shamans do, but most of them like don't realize this, is that I think a lot of people always come to me and ask me, it's like, you always have Maelstrom procs up, what's up with that? And it's the fact that I'm focusing on, like, let's say Frost Shock is a 6-second cooldown, my Storm Strike is an 8-second cooldown. If I use Storm Strike first and then I use Frost Shock, what happens is that they both now exactly have the same cooldown. And so when they come up, I have to actually wait for all of them to come back up. Now let's say I use Frost Shock first and then I Storm Strike. What's going to happen is that my Frost Shock is going to come back up first, and then my Storm Strike is going to come up right afterwards. So basically you want to use the ability that has the lowest cooldown first, and then use the other one, so that after you use your last ability, your next one's already up, so that you're not just waiting there not doing anything. And if for some reason you get to the point where you're not doing anything, you have purge spam. Just purge, 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 or run away, or ground and stuff like that. So your purge is going to be your filler always. So basically, but what I normally do is that I'm going to have Searing Totem. I'm going to run in, I'm going to Storm Strike, Unleash Elements, and then I'm going to use Flame Shock, and then Lava Lash more often than not. And that's just because that's the opening rotation. After that, I'm going to use my Earth Shock first, then Storm Strike, and then I'm never going to Lightning Bolt in an arena match unless I know I'm going to get the kill with it. And see, I just used Lava Lash first and then Storm Strike, which was bad. You shouldn't do that. You should always use the Storm Strike first. But there are cases every now and then where I will notice that, let's say I have like 4 Maelstrom procs, right? Instead of, I have 5 right now, but let's say I had 4. And then I have a Storm Strike and a Lava Lash up. I'm always going to use the Lava Lash up. Why? Because the Lava Lash is more often than not actually going to give me, it's actually going to give me the 1 extra Maelstrom proc that I need. And then I use that, and then let's say I Storm Strike, and I'm already back up to so many Maelstrom procs. So if you already have 4, like, why even waste it? Why waste a Storm Strike? And then, so see, that's stuff like that you kind of want to keep in mind. So like, because Storm Strike will give you Maelstrom procs pretty fast if you actually do it at the right times and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes obviously it's not going to work, but more often than not, Storm Strike is going to give you a lot more procs than a Lava Lash will. So definitely want to kind of be on the lookout for that also. So basically, 2 things right there. You want to use your spells that are on a shorter cooldown first, except for your opener, where you want to get the Storm Strike buff going. You want to get that Flame Shock going. I mean, Flame Shock isn't like the most important thing in the world. You just want it to have it up. After Flame Shock, your highest damaging shock ability is your Earth Shock, and that's because with your Storm Strike debuff on them, your nature spell shock is going to be, your Earth Shock is going to crit, has an increased 25% chance of critting. So there you go, my Earth Shock just crit. And that's the reason Earth Shock does more damage, and obviously you put up the 10% debuff for damage taken. So you want to have that in there at all times. And the reason I put up Unleash Elements right off the back too is just to get my static shocks rolling, and then all that stuff. But normally if I'm trying to catch up to someone, let's say it's a target that I want to always keep slowed, right? And so I just use Frost Shock on him, and I know, let's say I want to Wrestle Druid, I'm not going to instantly use Unleash Elements even though I have it up. I'm going to wait for him to actually safe shift. As soon as he shifts, I'm going to use Unleash Elements, and then slow him again. Let's say he shifts again, then I'm going to Frost Shock again. So you might want to have to play smart like that if you want to keep someone on a lockdown with slows and stuff like that. But aside from that, the basic rotation is really simple. It's just your Storm Strike, your Shock, and then Lightning Bolt if you have it, but I don't normally Lightning Bolt. Obviously in a PvP you're going to use almost every proc for Healing Storm or Healing Surges, and normally I'll save up a proc. Like, I won't, like, sometimes I'll have a 5 Maelstrom procs for like 10-12 seconds and I won't use it up. And that depends on if you know there's burst coming soon, or if I know I'm just overextending my healer by a lot and I'm going to need it soon. Those are the times when I save it, because I normally don't use it up on Lightning Bolt. So it's okay to actually have 5 Maelstrom procs that, but just don't forget that you actually have it up, because then at some point, see, that just went away. So now it's like some people forget that they have 5 Maelstrom procs and they keep attacking and waiting for that little thing to come up again, but it will never come up again. So just make sure that you actually know you have 5 Maelstrom procs. Another thing I just wanted to add while you're doing that is, if you have 5 Maelstrom procs, do not use NS to hex someone. What it will do is that it will use up your 5 Maelstrom procs first, and then it will keep NS on you. Now, the reason why you don't want to NS hex someone when you have 5 Maelstrom procs is that if you have 5 Maelstrom procs and you heal with it, it's 100% stronger. But with NS, it's not. It's 0% stronger. So if you have that, just get the heal off, or just hex with it, and then use NS and hex the target. Obviously, that's an invalid target, but that's something you want to remember. See, I have NS up and I have 5 Maelstrom procs. I use my healing storm, my Maelstrom procs went away first. So NS is on a basis and this is going to be used later. So if you have those two up, make sure you never hex first, because you're going to use up the Maelstrom procs for the hex. So you want to use the Maelstrom procs for the heals, because that's more beneficial. But for the rotation wise, that was basically it. It's just going to be Storm Strike, and then after that you have your Frost Shock, Unleash Elements, Lava Lash, Storm, and then after that you just use your smallest spells, which your Shocks, then Storm Strike. And I have my Lightning Bolt again. I don't have Flame Shock up. I'm just going to put that up real quick. Lava Lash. And then I have Storm Strike coming up soon. And then I'm going to wait just that extra second for a Frost Shock again. And then I'm going to Unleash Elements. Then I have Lightning Bolt up again. The Lava Lash came up first, so I just used it. And then Frost Shock again. And then Storm Strike. So and a Lightning Bolt. And now I have Shock again. Now this is not a PvE rotation. I can't tell you what the best rotation for PvE is. This is what I do in PvP. And which works for me, and it's actually really, I mean, if you notice my PTR videos and fully geared shamans, like, there's probably no one out there, like, no other shamans out there are going to be doing more damage than I am on most cases. So, or shamans are going to do the exact same damage that I am, and that's probably because they're using the same exact rotation and stuff like that. So it's basically, that's basically it with regular, just pure rotation wise. Now to get into the burst part. Now I have the burst macro, which right here I showed earlier, which is Last Cast Ascendance, your On-Use Trinket, Stormblast Totem, Ellie Mastery, Blood Fury, and Ancestral Guidance. Now for the perfect setup with this is that I normally when I go into an arena match, as soon as I start combat where I know that I'm going to actually stick on the target and not run away, I put down my Fire Ellie Totem, and more often than not, if I know they're going to go on me, I instantly put out my Ghost Wolves also. And that's just early pressure, which without popping my burst. So I'm always going to have like Fire Ellie and the Ghost Wolves already out before I burst. Now, the best way to burst is that you're going to run up to someone, you're going to Storm Strike them, and then Unleash Elements, if you have Unleash Fury, to get the Static Shocks proccing, and then pop Ascendance. Now what this does is that during your Ascendance, your regular melee attacks that your Wind Lashes are going to also proc Static Shocks. So that's why it's really important that you actually Unleash Elements after Storm Strike. And it's also important that you Storm Strike also, because you Storm Strike and then Unleash Elements, and then you use Ascendance, your Storm Strike is going to get reset. So it's really crucial that you actually use those two abilities before you pop Storm Strike. It's like using Lava Burst as an Elemental Shaman. It's like popping Ascendance when your Lava Burst is already off cooldown. There's no point. It's not like Ascendance does more damage than Lava Burst. It just gives you the opportunity to actually do more Lava Bursts. So, same thing with Enhanced Shamans. Don't use Ascendance if you already have Storm Strike up. Unless obviously just the target's really low and they're far away from you, then go for it. But I'm talking about, this is the most, like, this is what the way you're going to do the most damage off of your burst. So normally I'm going to summon my Fire Ellie, my Ghost Wolves, and then I'm going to go into Storm Strike, Unleash Elements, and then pop Ascendance. And I'm just going to Lava Lash instantly. I'm not going to use my Shock first. And then I might Lightning Bolt during Ascendance, because it actually does nice damage, because with everything up. And then like in Ascendance, I actually put Lava Lash on a higher priority than Shocks and everything else. So, but you make sure you always get Storm Blast is your highest priority on that damage done right there, because you want to get the Storm Blast. You want to get 2 Storm Blasts off in your Ascendance, and that's really important that you do that. So always Storm Blast first in your Ascendance, the first thing. So when it's back up, you can use it again. And that's basically it for Enhanced Burst right there. Now that was Burst with Unleash Fury. Now, obviously you're gonna have Primal Elementalist and Elemental Blast. Now the Primal Ellie, in my opinion, like, when you use Primal Ellie, just let it damage. I know it has the ability where if you actually activate it, you do more damage and more healing on yourself. Like, it has a little period, but trust me, it's not gonna outweigh the damage that the Primal Ellie does by itself. So I don't even mess with like its abilities unless I'm gonna die and I need that extra healing or something. Then I'll use the ability to just for the healing, but not ever for the damage. So if you summon a Primal Ellie out, which I discussed this in the previous talents portion, the primal elite is obviously gonna be more damage. Then you don't really have to worry about using unleash elements before you burst. You're just gonna storm strike and then burst. And then now if you're using elemental blast, this basically replaces unleash elements for elemental blast in terms of rotation wise. So now you're gonna storm strike someone, and then if you have NS or something, just if you're just going for that one shot with elemental blast anyways, just NS elemental blast anyways, or if you have maelstrom procs, just storm strike, elemental blast, and then pop ascendance, and hopefully you get a mastery proc or an agility proc from ascendance. From elemental blast, and you'll one shot someone with ascendance. And that's basically it for burst as Enhanced Shaman. That's pretty simple, right? Alright, good luck. Now for the gems and enchants and reforging, this is something new that I haven't been adding in my other videos, which I'm going to add now. As an Enhanced Shaman, there's two ways you can go. Two ways you can go for reforging, or gemming, and one is going to be mastery and one's going to be haste. Those two are actually almost equal in terms of the damage you're going to do at the end. Or I think actually haste might do a little bit more damage at the end. But personally, I prefer mastery all the way. Now, what mastery does for you is that increases your fire, frost, nature damage done by 51%. So this means basically all your burst abilities and all your special abilities do more damage, and that also means your ascendance does more damage, and your fire abilities and everything basically does more damage. Now with haste, you attack more. So if you have more uptime as with full reforged to haste, you're actually going to do a little bit more damage, probably overall damage, and maybe your GCDs might be a little bit shorter or something. But as an Enhanced Shaman, personally, I go in, I burst, I go away. Like, I'm not going to sit there, as an Enhanced Shaman, your goal isn't to do, amazing overall pressure. Like, in the current state of Enhanced Shamans, when you're fully geared, yeah, you can put out some insane pressure. But as you know, my gear is subpar to, anyone else out there right now. So regardless, I think mastery is still the best way to go because of just the amount of sheer burst you can put out with mastery. So I think after agility, mastery is the best way to go, and then after that haste, and then after that crit. So that's going to be your priority for gemming. So now on my helm, I have the meta gem for 216 agility and 3% increased critical strike chance with 160 agility. And I usually go for the socket bonuses that some people don't like going for them. Some people go for the pure agility or pure mastery and stuff like that. I just prefer to have that extra because I think this a little bit of here and there isn't going to change too much in damage wise, and having that little extra socket bonus is actually really nice. And as you know, I am an orc right now, and I'm not using the stun reduction meta gem. Now, I used to use this, but I just bought a new helm and I changed it up just because the fact that, now again, I mentioned the current state of the game, it's so reliant on that random burst and stuff like that. So I decided this more pressure is going to be a lot better than having that stun reduction, because it just wasn't even showing up for me, because people don't even stun me and stuff. They just go for the outright kill. So this is just more beneficial to me right now. And then I'm basically reforging mastery at top and then haste after that, and then crit. And my gems are in my yellow slot gems, I'm using 80 agility and 160 mastery, which is called Adept Vermilion Onyx. So, and then obviously the red gems, I'm using Delicate Primordial Ruby for 160 agility. And I basically have that for everything. And obviously you want your expertise to be at over 6%. I have a little bit extra. Just because the way I don't have full gear yet, so I haven't really played around with it too much. And then my hit chance, okay, I just bought a new piece of gear and I need to change that. My special attack's at 0.09% right now, miss chance. That you should have that at 0 no matter what. So you want 3% hit chance. I just have to fix that, which I will right after this. I just bought a new piece of gear. That's the reason why it's happening. Alright, and then so for the blue gems, I am using 80 agility and 80 PvP power, which is Assassin's Imperial thing, whatever. And I'm only using that because of the socket bonus that it gives, because I get an extra 60 agility. I could have got the 160 mastery on this too, whatever, or just pure 160 agility. But I mean, it's just like I'm getting the socket bonus on top of that, so why not? And then so that's pretty much it for the gems. Those are the 3 types of gems that I'm using. And then for enchants, Helm does not have an enchant. My shoulders, I'm doing 200 agility, 100 critical strike rating. Now also, I have to point out something about enchants. This is a brand new account. I'll mention again and over and again. I have no money right now, so some of my enchants aren't going to be the best. So, I mean, there are much better enchants out there, so that's just a heads up right now. This is just what I'm using currently because this is what I can afford. And then on my cloak, I'm using 180 critical strike. On my chest, I'm using 80 plus all stats. It was either that or the 200 resilience, and resilience is so pointless right now. So this is like having extra 80 agility and stam, I guess. And then I'm going for 170 mastery on my bracers. On my gloves, going for 170 mastery. On my belt, I have the belt buckle. On my legs, I have 170 agility, 100 critical strike rating. I know there's a better one out there with more agility and more critical rating, so go for that one. And then for my shoes, I have 100 plus 100 agility and minor speed increase, which I think is currently the best one. And then that's pretty much it in terms of enchanting. Oh, okay, on my weapon, I have Windsong on my main hand. Now, obviously, you want to have Dancing Steel, and then on your offhand you want to have Weapon Chain. So, and it's actually, I personally think you should have a Weapon Chain. There are some shamans that go double Dancing Steel on both weapons, and I mean, hey, I mean, go for it. But I personally prefer having a Weapon Chain. I think it's really nice. So that's pretty much it for my gemming, enchanting, and reforging. Another segment that I want to add that is pretty new to what I've been, this is something I want to add for a while, is basically grounding, shamanic rage, and shearing. Now, I just wanted to kind of give a heads up on what are some of the important things that you should be looking at to like ground, wind shear, and sham rage against most of the classes. Now, as against the frost mage, obviously the number one thing that you want to be looking to wind shear or ground is going to be frost bomb. Now this is where you have to kind of play around with it a little bit. If someone's casting a frost bomb, or let's say basically any class is casting a burst ability, then I would rather ground that ability if I have the option to than wind shear it, because what happens is that if you ground it, they just wasted that ability. They can't do it for a while, rather than shearing it and then them doing it a little bit after locking you out or something. So if he's casting a frost bomb, at the end of it, more often than not, I'm just gonna ground the frost bomb. And also what happens sometimes is when you ground frost bomb, most mages like to frost bomb and instantly deep freeze. So you might actually get the deep freeze on there too. So that's something really good to ground against mage. It's gonna be frost bomb. Or just shearing wise, you're gonna be shearing polys and your frost bombs mainly. If they're casting frost bolts, unless you're rooted or your partner's rooted, the frost bolt isn't going to be a huge issue. Now, what to sham rage against them? Obviously, frost bomb and deep freeze are the only two things you should be. If you just have frost bomb on you and like you also have a healer with some offuse going on, then it's not that important. If you just have it, I mean, I don't know what I just remember, but if you have either just a frost bomb or just a deep freeze on you, a deep freeze can be kind of dependent on like what's your current health at and what's your healer actually healing you and stuff like that. If you just have either one of the two, you don't have to worry about it too much. But if you have a frost bomb and deep on you, make sure you get out of that instantly with sham rage. That's for frost mages. Sorry about the plane in the background if you hear it. Holy crap, that's loud. Alright. Now for fire mages, what do you want to sham rage? Save it only for combustion. You have to save it for combustion. Do not use it on the deep freeze. As much as you want to use it on the deep freeze, do not use it on the deep freeze. Save it for the combustion. Now, what do you ground against a fire mage? This is like as a shaman, you're gonna annoy the crap out of fire mages. soon as they get a pyro proc, put down a grounding totem instantly. As soon as you see that pyro proc, and start spamming purges on them until you get that pyro off. And make sure you don't get rooted when they have a pyro proc up, because the only time they're gonna like actually throw that pyro at you for where it's gonna actually hurt is when you're rooted or you're deep frozen, and they can't deep freeze you if you're not rooted. So there you go, that's the secret. And if they frost jaw you, that's also something you can like see. And the thing about frost jaw is you can actually use your spirit boost to get out of a frost jaw, or spirit walk to get out of a frost jaw, which is amazing. That'll like mess over so many mages, which a lot of them I think don't expect that for some reason. I don't know why, but so you have so many outs against the mages. So just look for those things against the mage. And then now for warlocks, what do you want to ground or shear? Obviously, the two biggest things are going to be. Okay, let's speak in terms of affliction locks, or I guess all warlocks have this, but it's fear. You always want to ground or shear that fear. You don't want to get hit by that. And then what do you ground against an affliction lock? Now you can ground an unstable affliction, obviously, which I mean, you want to minimize the amount of unstable afflictions going out on your team. But on top of that, save your shamanistic rage for. Okay, I'm sorry. The biggest thing you want to try to ground against an warlock is a demon soul swap. So if you see a warlock popping demon soul and he's just spamming soul swap and casting, just put down a grounding totem. It's going to be a good usage of that one grounding totem to waste away one of his soul shards. So it's not like something huge, but I mean it's definitely going to help out in the overall pressure. And on top of that, the best thing to shamanistic rage against a unstable affliction warlock. An affliction warlock is going to be demon soul dots. I mean, if all three demon soul dots and haunt up on you, and you don't even have to haunt up on you. If you just have those three up on you, just use shamanistic rage them, and that's going to mess them up so much. But make sure you do it after you know he's ran out of soul shards, or he's just going to put him right back up on you. Because otherwise, most warlocks just start off on the main target, and then they keep going on different targets, and if one pop dispels them, they put them right back on him. So make sure you wait for him to waste them all up, and then use that Shaman Rage. So, and now for a Destro Warlock. Obviously this is really simple. The Chaos Bolt. You want to ground, wind shear the Chaos Bolt. And if you have neither, Shaman Rage it. It's simple as that. So, but obviously now, as I mentioned before, you always, if they're casting Chaos Bolt, you want to ground it first. You don't want to wind shear it. Especially if it's a Demon Soul one, you always want to look to ground the first one and then wind shear afterwards, or LOS later on. But definitely, if it's another team's burst, you always want to look to grounding it. If it's just regular abilities, you want to look to wind shear it. Now against the Shadow Priest, what you have is Vampiric Touch. So the less Vampiric Touches they get out, the less pressure they're gonna get out, the less mana they're gonna have. So not letting him get VTs out is amazing. And then obviously grounding a Mind Blast is also amazing, because that's just a lot less damage you take, because Mind Blast actually hits really hard, and also it won't give them a Shadow Orb, which is huge. It means more time they have to go through their burst. Now obviously you can ground Devouring Plague, which is a little bit harder to do, but it's not as difficult as you may think. But now the thing that you would look to ground more often than not against a Shadow Priest is going to be their silence. Now you think, how do you predict a silence? That's kind of impossible to do. It's actually, I mean, I've done that so often, and not saying you can do it every time, obviously not. I mean, but there are times where, let's say a Shadow Priest is playing with a DK and he uses a Asphyxiate. Out of that Asphyxiate, you know there's another CC coming, a silence. So when there's 1 second left on that Asphyxiate, just put down that grounding totem. More often than not, you're going to get that silence shot. Or I mean, that silence. Or vice versa. Let's say you're playing against a DK and you know there's like out of another CC, the only person that can CC now is the DK. You can ground the Asphyxiate. So that's pretty, so that way just try to predict that stuff, and that's the best thing to ground against Shadow Priest. And then Obviously, Sham Rage is, I mean, you can Sham Rage the VT and Shadow Word Pain. It's not something big, you can do it, but I mean, I'll help you out regardless, nonetheless, a little bit. Now against a Hunter, the only thing you have to worry about grounding are traps. Now against a good Hunter, this is like, sometimes it feels impossible. But the first one, you can always trinket and ground instantly, because more often than not, what they're going to do is they're going to silencing shot you, or they're going to stun you or something, and then go for the trap. So usually the first one, you can do it if you just trinket, but even then, it's actually really hard if the Hunter's actually good. And on top of that, if they have a partner like a DK or something, who's always Chains of Icing or Death Coiling or something like that, it becomes so hard, because you have to actually ground right before, like, you see the trap shoot off, or shoot, and then right before the trap's about to land, that's when you have to put down your grounding totem, and that's so difficult sometimes. And also there's some Hunters, which I've seen right now, that at the higher levels, they don't even use trap launcher. They'll literally come walk by and trap off of something, and that's the most annoying thing in the world. But that's what you want to look to ground against Hunters. Their traps. Now, what do you Shamanistic Rage against Hunters? Obviously, rapid fire, or power shots, or stampede if you want. Now, against an Elemental Shaman, you can piss off an Elemental Shaman so hard if you actually do this right. There's something really small that you have to look out for, is that a lot of people don't really look at it, is that when they're casting an Ele Blast and you see that they have a Lava Surge proc, as soon as they're about to get the Ele Blast up, just put down a grounding totem. You're going to ground their Ele Blast and the Lava Burst at the same time. Or let's say they're about to get off a Lava Burst, and you see they have 7 stacks of Lightning Shield. I guarantee you they're gonna use Fulmination out of that Lava Burst or their Ele Blast. Put down that grounding totem. You're gonna ground that stuff. So it's just those minor things you want to watch out for. Let's say an Ele Shaman pops Ascendance on you, right? The best thing you can do, you Shamanistic Rage them. Not only will you take less damage, but you're gonna take away Flame Shock. So now their Lava Burst is doing crap for damage. So I mean, it's just you can lock out an Elemental Shaman so hard as another Shaman. And obviously, the best thing to interrupt is an Ele Blast. I mean, just locks them out of everything. So there you go for what to do against Ele Shamans. And the Boomkins, there's 2 things, obviously. One's going to be Star Surge, and one's going to be a clone. Now, I know the instant Star Surge procs are so hard to actually ground, but just try to look for them. But other than that, I mean, if they're actually casting a Star Surge, I would recommend you ground them instead of shearing them. But if you don't have a grounding totem, just shear them. And then just make sure you work with the Star Surge and the clone. That's what you want to focus on. And then kitties. Now, against ferals, the only thing you have to make sure about are clones. Now, every time they get a Prayer of Swiftness proc, which you kind of know when they're about to get it, but even then, like, it's easy to tell when they actually get it. As soon as they get it up, I put down a grounding totem instantly and start purging them until the Prayer of Swiftness proc is gone. So basically, they're gonna have to kill the grounding totem, and by the time they kill the grounding totem, I'm gonna have their buff purged off, or they're gonna cyclone into the ground. So either way, that's what you want to look against kitties to ground. And then obviously, like, after that, they're gonna start casting a cyclone and be like, what happened? Where's my clone? So it's kind of funny too. And Shamanistic Rage, obviously you want to Shamanistic Rage their Berserking, Incarnation, and stuff like that. It's just their burst. And then for Paladins, the only thing you can ground is Hodge. And obviously there's Holy Paladin stuff, which there's Repentance, and you make sure you ground Repentance. If you can ground it, don't wind shear it. As I said again, that's so important that you remember that. So against Paladins, you have Hodge and Repentance. So now, because often you'll see like Paladins, literally they just run up to your healer, and they'll like walk like 40 yards to your healer to Hodge them, and then blind them out of that. So it's kind of obvious when a Paladin's gonna go for it, but I mean obviously it's not easy to do because your healer might still not position himself to the point where you would like it, or you just don't have that global at the moment or something like that against some of the high rated pressure teams. But you're looking to ground that Hodge against the Rep Pally, and against the Holy Pally, you're looking to ground Hodge and Repentance. There's some rep pallies that use repentance too, so watch out for that. Now, as I mentioned before, and obviously the thing you want to shamanistic rage against pallies is going to be their hodge. So when they hodge you, or if they're not hodging you and they pop wings, trust me, shamanistic rage that instantly, because wings do damage. So, which is Avenging Wrath, I think. And then against the DK, as I mentioned earlier, you want to try to ground that Asphyxiate, which is not the easiest thing to do, but also, aside from Asphyxiate, you can also ground a Death Grip. So most DKs like to double Death Grip you, so after the first Death Grip, they're going to run away from you and try to grip you, then Death Grip you again. And that's when you put down your Grounding Totem, and that's going to mess them up so hard, because then they're going to try to chase you again. So, it's just like, that's just amazing. So, go ahead and ground the double Death Grips, because after the first one, just put it down instantly, and you're going to ground the next one, or you're going to run away. Either way, and then just put down like a root or root them or something like that, and you're golden. And then obviously the thing you want to Shaman Rage against DKs are their Gargoyle or let's say the Remorseless Winter, if they're using that, or Pillar of Frost. And against a Warrior, you can't ground or shear a Warrior, sadly. But what do you Shamanistic Rage? Obviously Recklessness, one-shot Swifty. Pretty sure everyone knows that. And then against a Rogue, again, no grounding, no shearing. Shaman Rage, what do you Shaman Rage? Shadow Dance, Vendetta, Shadow Blades, just basically all their burst opportunities. And against a Monk, now it depends. Fist of Fury is random, like some Fist of Furies, like if you know you're going to take damage, go ahead and Shaman Rage a Fist of Fury, but in that, it's a situational against a Monk. So that's pretty much it for grounding, Shamanistic Raging, and shearing. Hope that helped. Well, hopefully that guide helped you guys out in some manner. I know it was really long. I actually wanted to add like a couple more things, but that would just make it way too long. I'm probably gonna make another video after this. Not right after this, obviously. This kind of took me a little while, but I also have some requests from like about 8 other people for doing keybinding guides. And so I think that might be something that's something that will be helpful to everyone else out there. That's obviously I'm going to do a keybinding guide through the Razor Naga. So look for that, and so make sure if you want to see that, subscribe and click on this dancing sexy Worgen orc shaman right here. Alright, and hope you guys enjoyed this and this was helpful. See you guys later.